Hi everyone, I'm Sarah Trevelyan, owner and founder of Sarah Loves to Sew and the Beginner Sewing Boxes. I also run the Sewing Confident Community Facebook group. So if you haven't met me before, I'm Sarah, nice to meet you. And this is what we're going to be making today. It's a fabric advent calendar and everything that you need to make this is available on my website, sarahlovestosew.com. So I'm going to show you step by step how to create this fabric advent calendar in time for Christmas. Okay, are you ready? Let's begin. So to make your advent calendar, one of the first things you need to do is choose one of your pieces of fabric. That's going to be the main front of the calendar. And the next thing to do is to get this, which is your transfer of the writing, and you want to cut your writing out. So the Christmas countdown goes up here and next to it the baubles. So you want to cut straight a line as you can, just leaving a small border around, and you're going to cut around your title. Next thing that you're going to do is cut out the baubles, like so. Make sure you don't cut your numbers as you do it. And then while you're at it, you can cut your numbers out as well. So you'll need to cut out all of these numbers individually. Now it can be a tiny little bit sort of finicky, but it is better than cutting out the exact numbers and sewing those on. So keep your numbers safe. That's the 4, and you'll do that for all the numbers. Next thing we're going to do is iron these on. So put your numbers aside for now and take the piece of paper that allows you to iron. So this is the heat resistant paper that comes in the pack, and you're going to need that when you press. So it's reusable, this one, but first of all you need to just separate the back from the front of this transfer, so the stickiness is on the back of the design. So you need long nails or something sharp just to separate those. And very slowly just peel it off carefully and position it on your calendar with about 1 centimetre from the top, and do the same with the little bauble decoration. And then we can get the iron on. So you do need your iron warm, so if it's not on already you can go and heat that up. So just peel it slowly and carefully and place it next to the writing, like so. Christmas countdown. Next thing that you want to do is to get the heat resistant paper, and then we're just going to press that down, and this will transfer our words and the baubles onto the canvas. And we'll be ironing the numbers on to the pockets in a similar fashion, but not quite yet. We'll make the pockets first. Okay, so that's the start of the calendar. Next you need to take another one of the sheets of calico and this time measure out strips of 7 centimetre deep. So the width of the sheet but 7 centimetre deep, and cut out 5 of those. And these are going to be our pockets, strips of pockets. So I'll just tell you how we're going to make those. What to do is to put the red binding on the pockets. So cut a piece of binding the same length as the pocket, and then you want to pin the two raw edges together and then sew within that fold. And then what will happen is that will be folded up and you won't see any stitching, and then we will fold it over and stitch it in place along the back. In straight stitch along that first groove. Be careful to take the pins out as you go. And you want to do that to all 5 of the pocket strips. Then turn the binding over so you fold up and press that edge and then fold it over. Start about a centimetre from the edge so you don't get the feed dogs caught, and then a few reverse stitches, and you're sewing as close as you can to this edge and sew all the way along in the same manner. So you should have the back and then turn it over to the front side, and you can just chop off the ends so it's even on both of the sides. Chop the threads as well, and then what you want to do is you can press that if you like, and then you're going to turn the edge over here just by ½ centimetre. So you want to fold that down and then thumb press. Might stay like that, or you can iron it for a crisper one. And just when you turn the corners, just make sure that it doesn't come up above it so you can see it on the front. You want it to be just below that there, and then we're going to just press that. Do the same on the other side, and this is the same process that you'll use on all of the strips of the pockets. So once you've folded over the sides, you also need to fold over the bottom hem, so about ½ centimetre, and just press that either with your thumbnails or give it a press on the iron. And now we need to divide it to get our pockets. So all you need to do is measure from the folded edge to the other folded edge and divide that number by 5. So mine is 28 centimetres, so it's 5.6 per pocket. So if you just measure it yourself and divide by 5, mark it out, draw lines, and then you've got your pockets marked out ready for the numbers to go on. So once you've cut your numbers out, it's up to you how you arrange your numbers. You might want them to be sort of all over the place, or you could do them in the correct order. So for this one, if you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you'll just place them where you think about right, and then you're going to peel the back off the numbers. So it's got a little white piece of paper at the back. You'll need nails or something sharp just to get this going, but do persevere. So you just need to start getting your nail in there. This is going to be a bit fiddly, sorry about that. So you need to just peel it away very slowly and then position it on your pocket where you want it, and then position all of the numbers before you start to iron if you're using this heat erasable pen, because what I found the other day was when I did the first sort of prototype of this, I was doing this and once I ironed the first one on, I'd ironed away the line, so I had to remeasure it, which was a little bit frustrating. So just position your numbers in place and then you can press them. The back of the numbers off, I've actually decided to mix them up on this calendar. So you peel the back off, place the numbers down evenly spaced on the pockets, and then you can just press it using this paper that comes in the pack, the wax paper. So you just lay it down and then press with the hot iron, and that should stick the transfers onto the pockets. Give them a good press. There we have it. The next thing to do is to, once you've put the numbers on all the pockets, is then to take all the strips over to your calendar. Once you've ironed on all the numbers onto your pockets and you've folded over and pressed the 3 edges, so the 2 sides and the bottom, fold it over about 1/2 centimetre. You then want to start sewing your pockets onto the main fabric piece. So you can line them all up evenly, make sure that you get all 5 rows on, and then you're going to start sewing from the top of the pocket down along the bottom and up to the other edge, and do some reverse stitching at the top here because that will be where the pockets get extra pressure. So we'll just pin them in place and take that to the machine to sew. Once you've sewn all the pockets onto the big front of the calendar, you then need to get a ruler and a marker that you can either rub away with chalk, or that is one of the heat erasable pens for the iron, and you draw out even spaced pockets. So you need 5 on each one. And what we're going to do to save time is start at the top, sew down, doing little back stitches at the beginning and at the end, and then you don't break the thread, you just move it along to the next pocket and sew down and sew down and sew down, and then you do another line. So you're basically doing 5 lines, and this is quicker than cutting the thread each time at the end of the pockets, and you also save time and thread. So let's do that at the machine. So I'll just show you what I mean. We'll go forward, reverse back to the top to secure the top of the pockets, and then when you get to the bottom, just do a couple of reverse, and instead of pulling the fabric away and cutting the thread, lift the presser foot and move the fabric along to the next pocket, and then do the next one. And this is just a really quick way of creating all those little pockets, and carry on this way all the way down. So once you've sewn all the pockets in the straight line, just snip the threads off on the front like so. Next we are going to attach our tabs, and we are going to sew the front and the back together. So you need your other piece of calico and lay it down on top of the front of the calendar. Now pin that in place all the way around, and we're going to sew around 3 edges, leaving a big space at the bottom to turn the calendar the right way round, and at the top we're going to put in our little tabs. So to do this, you get one of the tabs, you're going to need one of the bias pieces at sort of 12 centimetres in length, fold that in half, and you need to slip that inside like so with the raw edges, pointing outwards. So Put them quite close to the side edges, and you can measure this out. So measure 1.5 inches from the side on both sides, and then place and pin or clip the tabs in place. A clip would be better here. And then we're just going to go and sew those in place. So you can either hand tack them in place or do a few little stitches on your machine before you start stitching all the way around. So I'm just going to clip that in place, put a few little hand tacks in, and then sew it, and you do the same on the other side. So all that's left now is to turn the calendar the right way round. So you can trim the corners, and if you've got pinking shears, you can tidy up the edges. Turn the calendar the right way round. So put your hand in, reach right down to the tags and take those and pull it round the right way. And we are almost finished with our calendar. So this bit is really one of the last steps, and you just poke the corners out like so. You can use a chopstick to do this and get those corners nice and sharp, like so, and use the chopstick into the top corners as well. And then we have just to sew up the small gap at the bottom. So push those corners through and then iron away any of the pen that's still on the calendar, the heat erasable pen that I've used. So we'll iron that away and then use some of the twine to hang it and fold that over, and I'll just hand stitch that with some white cotton. Hand stitch that, slip stitch that, so it's all nice and neat. And there we have it. So I've stitched up the bottom bit, and then take your wooden dowel from the kit and just thread it through the tabs at the top, and then I've tied a knot in the twine and just put that on one edge and one on the other, and there's your calendar ready to hang in time for the 1st of December. Well done, you finished it!